folks, and welcome to the Night Sky Imaging YouTube channel. And here we are. I lost you there. Um, you guessed it, I'm on the sun. And I went to the solar website and looked at the possible time lapse uh, uh, videos that I could do, and I wasn't. Uh, there wasn't a lot that I could put together, but I thought I'd take you on a trip around the sun and just let's take a look at it and see what's going on. And I'm going to take some windows that you can't see that are part of my streaming software that are in my line of sight, and I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of those. I'm assuming testing. Yeah, we got good video, good audio. And let me continue to clean up. And I think that's going to do it. Okay. One other thing. I'm not done yet. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That's what I want right there. Okay. Good. Nobody's on yet. All right. So let's do just that. Let's take a run around the sun, and I'm going to move this hand controller so I can work with it. And we're at 8 times sidereal, so that'll get us going pretty quick. I'm going to move east, list a tad. And we've got this sunspot, but if I put this sunspot in a good place to image, which would be fine there, and I look at the surface, I have the possibility of these proms performing, but they don't look like the kinds of proms on the rim that have a lot of movement to them in the 3 hours or so that I do time lapses. So I'm not all that comfortable with this part of the sky or this part of the sun, but there's clearly 2 nice spots with some nice coloration where the plasma's doing its thing, and a long filament that's showing itself. And then we have over here some activity. So this is a possibility for a time lapse, but I'm not that excited about it. So wrong way. Okay. Let's go up this way. We've got a modest spot there and some filament. This is all dust and crud that's collected on my optical train. And this is the most promising part of the sun from a imaging standpoint. And I am going to take some images of the sun from here, but there's still not a lot going on the rim. There's some activity, but not a lot. And I don't think it's the kind that's going to really show you much. So you've got just not much is going on. So, but I can manipulate this somewhat. And so let's further, let's go south now. And while we still have this in the frame, I'm going to overexpose and see what I've got on the surface. and that looks better. And between this one and the one at the bottom, I guess are my two best options so far, should I decide to do a time lapse. And if I do one, I'm going to start at about 1:30 today, and that's right after the transit. And I'll go from 1:30 to say 4. And but I don't know whether this is that remarkable, and therefore, if this is something that's worth a 3 or 4 hour investment of my time. Although I enjoy doing it, it's still, as my wife said, you could be cutting the grass. What do you think I will do, given those options? All right, let's still keep this in the frame, and let's see if anything else shows up. And we do have some more stuff over here. When I say more stuff, more activity. I haven't gotten there yet. There it is. But when I get this in the frame, I've lost, for all intents and purposes, I've lost. That's extremely bright because I can see that, and that wasn't that way 30 minutes ago when I booted up. That's amazingly bright. Wow. To be able to see that with the prominence, with the chromosphere, to be able to see that and the surface well is pretty insane. That is big time nuclear explosion going on there. So I could probably go here and then move north just a tad. And the problem with this framing, I'll have this in here. I'll be able to put that in the, I'll be able to catch this, and I'll be able to get this, provided that my tracking is spot on. That if there's any variation, then the software is going to do some of its own inherent built-in cropping, and I may end up getting part of this cropped out or part of this cropped out. So it would be nice if this spot was like right here, and then I could walk away from this thing for 15, 20 minutes at a time and not worry about the drift and the resulting cropping that it would do. But with this kind of requirement that I stay here and recenter in one of these reference points each time it varies for 3 hours, again, I'm not sure I'm going to do that. But I don't have to do a time lapse. I can just go ahead and take a couple pics. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and see what else is around the sun before I do that. There's not a lot going on. We're back down here where we had this long filament running this way, and then a nice area of the region of the sun where there's a good bit of activity going on. But there's nothing on the surface unless it's just appeared. Nah, zero. When I say on the surface, I mean on the rim. I know my I know my videos are train wrecks because I'm dyslexic in my speech as much as I'm dyslexic in my physical skills. Seriously. But there's that prom. Look how bright that sucker is. Whoa. Well, I am going to have to image that. So before I start, I'm going to go ahead and take some flats because I'm scared to death if I went out earlier Well, two things. I went out earlier and took my blower and I blew off all uh, the quark chromosphere and the sensor. Actually, I'm not getting to the sensor. I'm getting to the protective glass over the sensor. I didn't take that off. So the sensor hasn't been cleaned. But I'm about to do a video when I finish this on how you clean your sensor and the tools I use to do that, because it occurred to me a lot of people are scared to death of cleaning their sensors. And being a photographer, that's something that I do very routinely. I've got a number of different camera bodies that I use in my work, and I clean them all the time. I clean them when they're needed, and that might be every other day, that might be every other week. But at any rate, don't be afraid to clean your sensor, but be careful. And there's things you don't use, and there's things you can use, and I'll show you what I do anyway. So I want to take some flats, and let's go ahead and center the sun. I do have a Daystar flat cap that I can put on the end of my telescope, but that entails me going outside and putting it on and actually doing that outside, and I don't want to. So I'm going to stay right here, and I'm going to use the easy way of taking flats. I'm going to center the sun so that I see nothing but sun in my image. That's good. I may go over just a tad bit more. That's fine right there. I don't want any vignetting in the corners if I can help it. And I'd like to go ahead and get that sunspot there out. Okay. And then I'm going to defocus by 1,000 steps, and it doesn't make any difference which way I defocus, just as long as I defocus. And it doesn't have to be 1,000 steps. It's just that I have it set there. And I want to call this flat. And I need to also go to my sharp cap settings. And by the way, you always want to make sure under file names that you have create when you post compatible file names and that you use a sortable date format. I also want to use universal time because I do a lot of planetary imaging, and when I do that, I want to be able to take the file names into different software programs like WinJuPost. But I need to create a directory for these images, and I've got a hard drive, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll just go ahead and make a new directory. I need to go ahead and format this. And so we want to make sure we've selected apply, or it will not work. And so let's take a quick capture of flats, and let's make that 500 frames. So we are taking some flat frames right now, and I'll take 3 of those. I don't need 3, but I'm here, and that works. Okay, let's do it again. And it's done, and let's do it again. Okay, so under the 10.5 folder, I have a new folder, and there are my flats. So I have 3 sets of flats, and they look okay. The thumbnails look okay. All right. Now let's move the focuser now in. I moved it out, so let's move it in 1,000 steps, and that should take us back to focus. And now let's head over to that part of the sky we want to image. And let's see, I think I need to go west and south. Okay, let's try this. All right, and let's just do a quick capture, and we want to change this to the sun. And we're going to take a quick capture of scene isn't too bad, but we don't need 2,000 frames. Let's take 1,000. And I'm going to recenter these crosshairs right here on this prominent looking sunspot. And I'll try to just continue to keep this pretty much centered. I'm looking to bring this out in an image, and also I want to see this prom that's extremely bright that is showing itself. So let's, we finished that one. Let's take another quick capture of 1,000 frames. And let's do another quick capture of 1,000 frames. We'll rack a few off. And then I'm going to recenter it down here. I'm going to need to move it north a little bit. I'm going to change the speed from 8 times sidereal to 4 times, or it's going to take off once it engages. And now we're going to have to move east a tad. Gone too far? That's fine. No, it isn't fine. I want to make sure I've got plenty of room to work with here. So let's bring that back down, which will be north again. No, south. Okay, let's take another 1,000. And I'm going to take 2 more, then we're going to process one of these images and see what we have. So hang in, we'll hang in there and we'll see if it's worthwhile. Take another. I don't know about your neck of the woods, but in Spartanburg, South Carolina, the skies are just beautifully blue. And it really does look like we're going to have another night of clear skies. That being the case, I'll be back imaging Jupiter, Saturn, and the moon. I'm going to start with the moon, then Saturn, and then I'll spend the rest of the night trying to get some good Jupiter. And the scene is predicted to be much better than it was last night. Let's take another one. And then I'm going to continue taking pictures of IC 1848, which is the Heart and Soul Nebula. I was able to get 90 240-second images last night in HA, S2, and O3. And I'm going to try to do the same tonight. I want to look through the data first and see if it's worthwhile taking S2. I may just take 90, say 45 HA and 45 O3. I would like to be able to pull some blue out of that. I have no idea if it'll work or not, but I'd like to give it a try. I know there's an ample supply of HA. Anytime you see a rendering of the Heart and Soul Nebula, it's almost all red. Let's knock off another one. And this will be it. And then we're going to process one of these. So while Um, Actually, I don't know why we just can't go ahead and set a let's do 1,000 frames, and let's make it 10. Let's do 10 with oh, say 5 seconds between each one. So, all right, now let's bring up auto stackered, and let's open one of our images. We're going to need to go to planetary and 10.5. Actually, we need to open a flat. We'll just open that one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to image. All I do is open it. There's no need to analyze. When I create my flat frame, you're looking at all the dust on this that I need to remove from my image. But I'm going to go to image calibration, and I'm going to select create master flat frame or master frame. And it brings up where I created my last frame, which I don't need. I need to go to 10.5, and there, and I'm going to call this okay. So I have a flat frame now. It's saving it. This is a slow laptop. Now we're going to open one of the images or AVI files that we took in Sun. Let's just take the first one, and there it be. So you can see the dust. So I think the first thing I'm going to do, you don't have to do it now, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load my master flat and get rid of that. And so here's the flat under the October 5th date. So that's what I want. And all that crap should disappear. And it did. So all the crud is flatted out. Now let's analyze it. And when I'm doing the sun, I keep surface checked, and I always have improved tracking. I don't know why you wouldn't. I did watch Emil Krykamp's video, and he created this software, and he explained everything in his video he did with Woodland Hills, but I can't remember why he said you might not need to check that, but I just do. And I do want it to crop in order to align. I don't want it to create more boundary and keep from cropping. So I want it to crop. I keep local and checked. I have the noise robust. Usually I have it at 5. I wasn't paying any attention. I just went ahead and clicked analyze. But this isn't that noisy of an image, so I could have left it at 5. And I don't double stack, and it's just auto size it. So once this is done, and it's taking it some time because again it is a very slow processor. We've already taken those frames, so let's move this back again, And let's see, we want to go west first, and then north. Come on, north. Now east. And we'll try south just a tad. And let's go back to capture, start capture, and let's do this again. But you can see all the dust here, and here, and this isn't dust here. This is some kind of dirt that's physically on my sensor. But this is dust, that's dust, and all that's been removed. And this is about done. Knowing that I was going to do this, I should have just taken 500 frames. But I'm excited about seeing how brilliantly lit up this prom is. Hmm. 207 seconds to do the stabilization. It's crazy. That's El Nutso. Let's go back out and spend time on. Oop, we've moved, but that's okay. We've got a hot area up here too. Well, just lost it with the green bar. The moon and Saturn are going to conjunct in 11 minutes. There's going to be a conjunction if you're into imaging in the daytime. I can't see the moon from where I'm at. I didn't realize you could actually image in the daytime stars and things. I know I can do the moon. I've done that before. It isn't particularly attractive, but I know I can do it. But I didn't know you could do that with stars and things. So, until I watched an Adam Block video and saw him do it. So I am going to have to try that. Now, you can't go image like you can at night, but you can visually, or you can visually see stars through a telescope during the daytime. And that I did not know. Never tried. Thank you, Adam Block. Okay, we have probably nowhere near. Okay, we finished, and we have a pretty decent quality graph. So we have more of our frames above 50% than below, and we have quite a few above 75%. What percentage it's going to be right here is where it crosses. So if this is 25%, then we have about 12 or 13% of our images are above 75%. So let's pick 15%. That ought to take in a lot of these frames that are in the top 25%. And let's create a grid. I want to use 104 pixel by 104, which is a pixel box is 104 pixels by 104 pixels is what I think that means. And so there we got it. And so we're going to save 15% of these frames, of which there's 1,000. So we'll have 150 frames. We're not going, no need to drizzle. And I don't apply any sharpening. Absolutely do not apply any sharpening. So let's go. And don't run your RGB align yet. If you have a color camera, it creates the file, a real huge file size. So let's go back and see where we are with our sun. And it's finished. So we'll move this back over. And I think we've got to move north. And we'll knock off a few more. We'll take 10 more and that'll be it. And then we'll spend the rest of our time processing that auto stacker and call it a morning. And I am going to make a video sometime today on how to clean your camera sensor. Whether it's a DSLR or an astronomical camera. Mr. Gamer, hello to you too. I like your avatar. You're looking at the sun. We've been taking some pictures of it. And particularly this spot right here, and then you can't see it. Well, it's sort of, there's a prominence that's blowing off the rim of the sun that we're gonna look at that in a minute. But this is a live view of our planet, our star. This is what see you later, Young. Let's see where auto stackered is. It's still working, and the stacking takes forever. So let's let it do its thing. Okay. We can continue our trip around the sun. I want to do one other thing. I want to bring up the gain. Excuse me. There's the prominence. That's really started acting up just since I started imaging. That thing is 70, 80, 90, 100,000 miles high in the solar atmosphere. It's crazy. And let's continue to move around. Oh, we picked up some. Let's see, we want to go. No, we want to. Oh, wrong way. I'm overexposing the suns so that I can see what's going on the rim. So far, this looks really good here. I wish I had something noteworthy about right there on the surface of the sun to image. Let's bring the exposure down. But we don't. All we have is this filament and that filament. But those are some pretty impressive problems on the surface. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and take. I'm going to name this one just Sun 2, and I'm going to go ahead and take a. I'll take 10 1000 frame AVI files of this while AutoStacker is finishing up. And so we're stacking right now this image of the sun. I'm sure glad I don't have to use this slow laptop for processing, because it takes forever. We have 8 more we're taking. Let's see where it is. It's about to finish that up. We're at 97%. Map analysis and map recombination doesn't take all of that long, but it goes a lot faster than alignment and stacking. But look how much time. We've got 207 seconds. We've got a minute and a half, 3 minutes, it's like 10 minutes to process one image using this laptop. I don't know how slow the processor is, but it is very, very slow. But it does a good job of planetary imaging, and it's cheap. Okay, we're about done. Yay. Bingo. I've never seen the black bar flicker like that. Okay, we'll get rid of that. I'm not going to do another one. And let's bring up IMPPG, which is this software right here. And I'll need that curve, and let's go find our image. And we want to go to 10.5, that folder, sun, 15% is where we saved it, and let's open it up. And let's okay, so what I want to do is I want to see this, and I want to see this, and I want to see it in detail. So what I'm going to do is if you're using IMPPG and you want the curves, just come up here to the Show Tone Curve Editor, click on this, and I'm going to go to Edit first, and I'm going to use Select and Process All, because I don't want the little box to work inside of. I want to process the entire image. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go along this linear line, and I'm going to make a anchor point about where this histogram comes down. And then I'm going to scoot this over to about where my data starts, and I'm going to raise this up to about there. And so that's going to reveal this monster prom that's acting up on the surface, as well as bring out some of the contrast in my sunspot and surrounding plasma turbulence. So I could probably work a little on this if I wanted to do that. But now we can sharpen it up a little bit. I'm going to bring deconvolution up to about 2.0. That's about where I end up with the sun, to add a little sharpening. And I'm pretty much done with that. You can play around with sigma and the amount that you apply, but that usually, in my in my processing past creates artifacts along the surface that I can't get rid of it. So I allow myself to only use deconvolution 90% of the time when I'm processing the sun, and any other sharpening that I intend to do, I'll either do that in PixInsight or Photoshop. I will sharpen this more, but not here. What this does, IMPPG does, it does a great job of revealing surface and rim activity without inverting the image. You can select inversion, and when you do, the white becomes black and the black becomes white. But I want the white to be white, and I want the sunspots to be dark, and I don't want to invert the image. And that will also reveal the surface. But I particularly like to keep it kind of like this, and rather than have a black sky, I like the white sky, because then I can see the solar glow coming off of the surface. And it's just preference, what you like. That's what you tend to stick with. There's a lot of activity right here too. But we've removed the dust. So this is all solar chaos, plasma chaos. Look at this ripple right here. Isn't that impressive? Wow. I love it. All right, let's go back to our shark cap. And I'm going to call it a day. I look forward to processing some of these other images, but before I do that, I'm going to be doing a video on how to clean your camera, the sensor, and some maintenance suggestions. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a great rest of the day. I hope you get clear skies in your neck of the woods, and it looks like we'll have some tonight. If you're doing nothing tonight, TV is terrible, come join me. I'll be live imaging Jupiter, Saturn, the Moon with one telescope, and IC 1848, the Soul Nebula, with another.